I'll be going the hotkey route of making stuff happen in Premiere. And the hotkeys in menu keyboard shortcuts are mostly quite nicely configured by default, but because not every keyboard in the world is the same, I highly encourage you to change them if you can think of a better position. Now, let's see if you have mastered the super fast editing style of Guai-Jin. I'm so confident in these 10 things that I promise, hope my heart and cross to die, something that after seeing them, your editing life will never be the same. And if by some chance you knew all about these 10 things because you're an Olympic Premiere master, then I want you to dislike this video. Come on, I want to know how many of you guys are there. But enough talk! Let's start. There's 3 good hotkeys for precise editing. First up, JKL. L makes you go forward, K stops, and J makes you go backward. And you can push them multiple times to get multiple speeds. Then spacebar. That's play and stop for this red line over here. And then there's arrow keys left and right, which makes you go 1 frame at a time. And you can use shift and left and right to go 5 frames at a time. You can use the arrow keys up and down to go to the next cut point in an active lane, or shift and up and down to go to the next cut point in sequence. And you can use home and end to go to the end or start of your sequence, or shift and home and end to go to the end of start of your selected clips. These are when you want to get around fast and furiously, but most of the time you'll use zoom. Also, if by some random reason your project throws you in the end and you have 1 clip selected, you can click here to get that clip fast. I need somebody who can show me what to do. Plus the zoom in, minus the zoom out, backslash the zoom to fit the sequence, and alt and mouse wheel to zoom wherever your mouse cursor is. I love the way you move, baby, I'm on the floor with you. So dance with me. Reply delete is the big brother of delete, only better in every way. There's the standby ways of using it, reply deleting a clip or an empty space, shift del. And this is why I like using it in raw editing. Wait a second. Now you can make an easy raw editing deleting process, not delete 1 by 1 like this. Or if you have some guy who's already deleted like this, you can do this kind of trick. To make your editing less painful. I'm feeling wild like a bullet from a loaded gun. You've probably mastered the cut tool and the selection tool, C and V, but have you tried B and N, the replay edit tool and the rolling edit tool? I consider the rest of these to be pretty useless, but those 2 are really useful when you start using them. The replay edit tool does the same as the selection tool, but with replay edit added to the empty space. And the rolling edit tool does a nice edit between the cut points of 2 clips. And in addition to that, there's also slip edit tool, Y, that I changed to M because that was better for me. That changes the position of the material inside a clip without moving the clip in sequence itself.
I don't know if I'm crazy or just having fun.
So, Ctrl C to copy, Ctrl V to paste, Ctrl Shift V to insert paste, Ctrl X to cut, Ctrl Z to undo, and Ctrl Shift Z to redo. And the paste location is always determined by the closest activated lane from the center. Like if I do this, it will go like that. And these are your best friends. Like these commands will help you more than anything else in video editing. And when you start using them creatively, you will feel like a god who can use cheat codes to get many things done in a moment's notice. Like for example, in copying and pasting, you know the normal stuff, like copying a clip or copying an effect. But then when you start using these creatively, you can copy multiple clips, and you can even copy an effect to multiple clips, and you can even copy motion and volume effect to one or multiple clips. And then you can even copy keyframes to one or multiple clips. And then you can even copy title in sequence, well, in project panel, and you can even copy untitled text from one title to another. And then you can even copy a sequence and have them both available to you if you want to change something but keep the old one available. And then you can even copy a project and the new one will work. Let me save this. And you can even copy stuff from one project and put it on another, and it will work. And when you add undo and redo to the mix, you can, like, let's say I make many changes. I don't like to change it, but I want to keep this one. I'll select this, copy it, undo it, the heck out of it, and paste it. And now I have both of them available to me. And these kind of things get me so excited. And one thing to note here, the history of the undo and redo will zero itself when you leave a project, and keep that in mind. And also, if you can, make the undo history setting states like something like 50 or 100 if your computer can handle it. Also, you can do more precise keyframe copy pastes in the effect controls window by making them, copying them, going there, clicking to activate the effect controls window, and voila.
I'm looking around like a drunken clown. It's better on the other side.
These rock. Like, let me show you why. Also, there's quite a lot to show, so I'll go with speed. Timeline selecting, you can select multiple clips with Shift, you can select part of linked media with Alt, you can select cut points with Control, and with Control hold you can select the rolling edit and the replay edit functions. Then, timeline moving a clip, you can use Shift to move audio and video in both lanes by holding Shift after moving the other one. Then, by dropping a clip, you can use Control to do an insert drop, or you can use the right side Alt to do this kind of funny kind of drop where it moves the clips on the surrounding and replay deletes the old spot, or you can use the left side Alt to copy your clips into a new place. Then timeline tricks. Wait a second. You can use Ctrl to create keyframes to your clip, and in the audio side too. You can use Cut tool and Alt to cut only part of your linked media, and you can use GKL with Shift to increase your speed only by 10%, not 100%. Then you can use Shift and Cut tool to cut through all the lanes and also the ones that aren't activated. Then in this section you can use mouse wheel to make the icon smaller and bigger, Control mouse wheel to make it slower bigger, and Shift mouse wheel to make all the lanes of the video or audio smaller and bigger. And in this section mouse wheel will go forward, backwards, and Control mouse wheel up and down. Then in project window, in addition to the stuff that you can do in Windows, like holding Shift or Ctrl A, you can use Alt to open and close all the folders. It works in here too and partially in here. And you can use Ctrl in here to grab the original and make a copy from the original, like with only dropping it down. Then other cool stuff. Wait a second. You can use the eyedropper with Ctrl to get 5 pixel radius instead of 1. Then you can use Ctrl Ö in Finnish keyboard, that toggle full screen hotkey, to get that screen to full size. Then you can use, when you change this with mouse, you can use Ctrl to go super slow, or Shift to go super fast. And those are the main things that I wanted to share now, and let's combine them now to create power mode. Presets. I'll start with effects. You can apply an effect, make changes, even keyframe changes. I'm using Ctrl to make this look a bit more funky, like right now. Then you can save that preset, and you can access that preset from there and apply there, and it will have the same values and keyframes when you've saved it. And if you want, you can create custom pin and name it blah, blah, and put your most used transitions or effects to that custom pin, and they will be there easily available. Then you can even create your own font presets by changing the values like this color, and maybe even a couple of strokes. And then click in here, new style, give it a name, and then it will be the downest one here, and it will carry from project to project. Then you can create the workspace presets that I already explained, and some keyboard shortcut presets for when you share your computer with another person. Shame on you. And the save options are save, save as, and save as a copy. And I recommend whenever you feel like it, Ctrl S.
I'm looking around like a drunken clown. It's better on the other side.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I'll use the last second to go through some hotkeys and stuff that I categorize OK/good. So, ready, set, go! You can normalize audio peaks in here, or max peaks all, like that. And you can use duplicated frame data, like that shows you where you have the same kind of frames. And if I put this, it shows it different color, and you can now see that it shows that this is only the same in your project. And number 3, you can use hold frame. It puts the whole video only for the frames that you put it to hold. And then you can use apply default transition, and now it applies the ones that you have yellow lined over here in audio or video. You can use the hotkeys Ctrl D or Ctrl Shift D to get that, and you can use the Ctrl to get multiple spots and then apply them to get nice results. Then one little thing. You can go to the settings and change the length of transitions and still images and titles, but in transitions it only affects those that you put there after the change, and in titles and still images it only affects those that you create and then put there after the change. Then you have Shift E, which is enable and disable. Then you have crop, and I bring this up because I have used 4-point Carpake matte quite a lot, but I've noticed that crop is mostly more handy for those kind of jobs than Carpake matte 4. In my opinion, the best way to use Carpake matte or crop is to click here, and then you can change the thing from the monitor window, which I think is nice. Then you can select a clip and press Ctrl R, or go from here and change the speed settings of the clip from 1% to 10,000% and put it on reverse too if you want. And you can also make the change slow, not instant, from the time remapping thingy, and I'll show you like how. Keyframe, open, more down. Well, that's coming towards us, so let's take that off. Shut up, my friend, I'm working. Like that, it doesn't affect the audio, and you can make the smoothness like that, and you can make the curve round like that. Then you can use Opacity's blend modes right here to, in my mind, create some sweet effects when you put them all on top of each other. Then you can use double click here to get to the motion controls, which I really like. Then in titles, when you create a long like end credit style title, you put this on, and then you can go all the way down. Even if you make more, it goes more down. So I really like this a lot too. Then synchronizing multiple clips by audio. Wait a second. And This is a little tricky because the audio needs to be really distinguished so it will sync it right. And even now it's a little bit, but it will sync it a couple of frames off, like I'll show you. There. And the next, this will take a bit more, so wait. You can make multicam projects like this, and you can record that footage like this. Just clicking the right window. And when you stop, you can see it has made it edits according to that in the main window.
Yes.
Then you can add an adjustment layer in here, and it will put out any effect that you put on top of it, like black and white, to anything that's below it. Then when you have the text file, you can put drop shadow to it to make it pop more. And lastly,